Alright guys, we're gonna make a clay frog. Frog's the easiest one to do, I think, because it kind of already looks like a frog right away. So I'm gonna pack my clay. I want a piece that is a little bit bigger than a baseball. This is probably perfect. I got lucky on this one, but if I need a little more, if I want a little bit bigger of a dish, you know, it's gonna shrink a little too. You gotta consider that. So I'll make everything I want to make 10% bigger than it will be in the end, because by the time the clay dries, it loses water, so the particles get closer to each other, so everything shrinks. And then when it heats in the kiln, the particles kind of melt a little bit into each other with this clay, kind of collapse a little bit, and then that makes it even smaller. And all the water's gone by then. It's just clay. So this is good. Very good, actually. Nice and big. Whatever you think. You know, you learn by doing it. Just go for it. See what happens. I think you'll be very, very good with whatever you do. See what I did? I just stabbed a hole right in the middle. I'm holding this in my left. And I'm working from the inside. Right away you might want to start pinching here, but don't. Pinch from the inside. I'm just squeezing the clay. I'm really, I don't know, how do you want to say it? I'm communing with the clay. I'm getting in touch, where our souls are combining here for a moment when we do this with the clay. I'm just being funny, but it's kind of like concentrate. You just feel it. I could just do it with my eyes closed and just feel for the thickest parts, and whatever it is, squeeze it down. You can roll it on here a little bit if you need to, but it's about squeezing. It's very soft. Or the clay I'm using. Now it's time to go home. I can feel down here it's a little hard to reach, so I'll just push against the table to pinch it. It's hard to reach down there now that the dish is getting so big. I'll just use the canvas as my opposing force as I push down here to thin it out and feel it. Just feel good, and it's almost there. If it's too floppy right now, like it's not holding its shape well for you because it's so soft, just do it almost all the way and then let it dry for a little bit. You can hit it with a hair dryer if you're really in a hurry. I might pull out a heat gun so I can get this done for you. I'm fast at it because I've done it a million times, but I'm smoothing it out all along the way too. When you look inside a dish, that's pretty good. I might just stay with this. When you look inside a dish, say you make a nice mug or something, this is part of the visual experience here, the inside. This is where you're going to be setting your sponge or your soap or your earrings or whatever you use this for to put stuff in. It's nice to have a dish to throw your keys in or your change or whatever. I'm going to use the side of my thumb, and I'm going to put some pressure here to push out anything that's caved in. And on the outside, anything that's up too high, I'm just dragging my side of my thumb flat here over the surface to get it nice. Like I was saying, it's when it's so soft like this, it's kind of floppy and soft, and it's hard for it to hold its shape very well. If you get some tiny cracks or any cracks, use 1 drop of slip. Okay. And in this little cup, I just have some clay mixed up with some water. It takes a while for it to break down, but even just the plain water will be good as long as you blend it in. This is also a focal point to make this really nice right here. I have some reference images of a frog right here. I asked the class to look up some pictures and draw them. I asked them to draw so they would become familiar with it. If you just look at it, you kind of just look at it. If you have to draw it, you have to think about it. I've done a number of these. I don't always do the same project with my 8th grade classes. This year's like kind of been simplified and abbreviated for obvious reasons. Try to make it stuff that we can do and do a good job, even though we have to be out of school or miss school, wherever it is. Have class every other day. But I've done some really nice projects in the 8th grade. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. I'm going to pull out a couple of them. I usually do one of these. This one is fun because it's, you take a animal or something like that, unicorn or something, and give it the job of a human. In this case, it's a bear beekeeper, which is funny. You can come up with a lot of cool ideas. And this one is a clay whistle. It's just basically this, but this gets a floor on it, so it's like it's a pinch pot that's sealed, and then it's kind of like an ocarina. It plays pretty well. I'm not a great ocarina player. I can get it to play a pretty good song. So you can see what this stuff looks like when it's finished with colored glaze. It's pretty nice. Same thing here. Showing these earlier. This clay turns white when you fire it. This is a different kind of clay. It turns pink when you fire it because this is iron in here. The iron's red, like rust. That's why rust is red. It oxidizes. That's what it looks like when iron rusts. Okay. Yeah. This kind of clay you can fire a lot hotter and you get a lot different of a look. There's infinite amount of things you can experiment with and learn about in ceramics. I think sculpture overrides it. You know, we can use whatever we want to use for sculpture. That's what this is, except it's functional sculpture. So, you know, you can make something out of anything. Clay is just amazing to make anything out of. So I'm going to go about the business now of making the legs. I'll set this to the side. I'm going to do more to this, by the way. I have to make a complete revolution if I'm making a coil like this. Turn this into a frog leg. Comes off the body like this. It folds back. And if I have to get another piece, I will. I have to. Trying to make this completely just with the tools I gave you. Whenever you're sticking two pieces of clay together, remind yourself to scratch wet and well. Don't jump the gun. Just jam them together. It works sometimes, but usually not. If it's really wet clay, it will. I put that on backwards. It goes like this. Frog's legs bend in a way that most don't because they really can jump. I still think that's backwards. Put it on this side. That's just the the basics are there, you know, the rest is up to you. This is the challenge that I leave up to you. Like, how are you gonna make it look? I mean, I can make it look exactly like a frog. Yeah, come on in. You can come in. Everything happened as soon as I turn on the camera. Let's squeeze that together a little bit. Yeah. It's so thick. I'll take some of that out. Come on in if you want to. Is it locked? Excuse me. Alright, I'm making a video, so don't make a lot of noise. Are you guys needing something? Oh, okay, go ahead. Alright, so, scratch this. Anybody with you? Oh, look who it is. RT. I'm gonna wet this. How you doing, Rachel?
Good.
How's your year? I saw you were taking Mrs. Allen's class.
Yeah.
Was that you in there I saw?
It was me.
That's good. She's nice. She always seems to be in a good mood. I don't know if it's, well, I better not say anything, huh? That's a nice quality, let's say that. Alright, so, here we go. That's looking pretty good. I have to work on these toes, they're terrible. Don't make anything too thin, it'll just break. I might just push these all together and chop them off like this, just so they don't break. You have to work within the limits of the material sometimes. Can't just do anything. I'll come back to that because I was just not happy with those at all. On the other one, I think I can just make a coil, flail this out a little bit. Cut this up. Again, I'm going to try to use only the tools I gave you. I like the way that looks better, but I'm afraid it'll probably break. It's okay, we're just abstracting everything here. Make it thicker than it normally would be if you have to. This folds like this underneath. I'm going to cut this to make sure it matches this shape. You got everything you need over there?
Yeah.
Don't get close to me, I don't have a mask on it. I didn't think anybody was coming. Linda, did you get my message on Google Classroom about the mural?
I think so, but I didn't.
Didn't read it yet? All right. I taught the class today, I said if you're making two of something, make them both at the same time. Should make these legs, if I want them to be symmetrical, I'll make them at the same time so they match. I'm only doing half to save time. It looks alright. I feel like the nose of the frog comes out a little bit more. So I'm gonna just add on to the piece. I can do that. I can do that. That's why clay is great. You can always add to it or take it away until you're happy. Just don't let it dry out until you're ready. Just kind of become the nose of the frog, pointed part. So I'll scratch it up. You'll find that as this starts to firm up by drying somewhat, it's easier to work with. I always get my stuff like 80 or 90% where I want it to be. Then usually by the next time I work on it, it'll be firmed up a little. Even if I have it in a bag, it'll dry slightly. And I'll just leave it out for a couple hours. I can do that here because I'm here all day, you know. I can keep an eye on it. Starting to look froggish. Doesn't have to look exactly like. Sometimes I tried to be too realistic with my artwork. I learned how to get things exactly perfect, but like sometimes it's the little bit of being off a little bit is what gives it some flair and fun. Take that part out. That's what I meant about adding and taking away. And if that didn't look good, I could just put that clay right back. I do like that part of it. Smooth this over. I think that if you shoot a little higher than I am shooting, you can beat me on how good your dish looks. Find some things you can use as tools that you wouldn't think you could normally use as a tool, like an old comb could be something to scratch with. You can make your own tools. You could find something. You can't hurt anything with clay. If you clean it up when you're done, you can't hurt it. Find something in the kitchen drawer. Make sure you ask. Okay. So an eye. I think this is going to be important. I'm going to do two at once. I'm going to make them oversized. I'll make one ball of clay and just cut it in half. I'm going to use this as just the end of the handle of something. So that's the basics look. Keep it under plastic if it isn't done. I think I'm going to let the camera go. I'm going to turn off the camera, work on this a little bit more, and show it to you in the end. And you can take it from here. This is all you really need to do. Just once it starts to firm up some, go over it and make sure everything looks perfect. There shouldn't be any crumbs or unintentional. All this stuff can go away. Maybe I'll add some texture deliberately, you know, if it's a toad or if it's bumpy. I can find something laying around and just put some texture in it. Maybe I'll use this right here and I'll just give it some froggy skin. That makes the glaze look nice too, by the way, if you do that. I'm going to go for a little bit and I'll come back. Yeah, so the frog is looking better. It's like once you get it started, you got to get past the, like, over the hump, over the lily pad or whatever we want to say here on this one. But once you get it going, it kind of takes off on its own, and you want to do more, and you start to figure things out on your, more. But you have to have somewhere to start. So just putting something down, I noticed some things were wrong, and I changed them. And again, I'll say it, like, this is why clay is terrific, because you can keep changing it. One of the most important things I did was make these feet thicker, and then I made the side toes shorter. Like, I checked my reference. The middle toes longer on the back and the front, so that's a big deal on the frog. It now looks a lot more froggish. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I don't care. So, you know what I mean? It's still like, the clay is still like mud though. It's so soft. I need to let it dry. But I will show you how I'm going to do the eyes, and then I feel like you could do it from here, because just let this firm up. Wherever you can make something connect, make it connect, just to give it extra strength. So right here, these two don't really connect. So I'll put a little slip in there, do a little better than that, and I'll just make them stick together even though they really don't. This way it's kind of like I'm bridging across to get some extra strength to keep it from breaking. Everything's laying flat on the table, flat on my bat right now. This is called a bat. That way when I set it on the counter or wherever it is in the bathroom counter, it will not rock. But that's annoying. So here we go. I'm going to make these eyelids. I'll just do one and then I'll let you go. Keep my cloth clean. I don't want to pick up a bunch of little pieces. I have a word for that I use, but I can't really do it right now. So here we are. It's like a worm. Maybe a little bigger. I'll do 2 of these. It's like a tapered worm. Okay. Wet this area. This is fine. I'll do the top. Oh, I want that bottom. I want to blend everything in except what's really close to the eye. I like that froggy eye look. Alright. So give me that froggy eye look. They kind of like pop out of the head a little bit, and I'll just keep sculpting that. Going to support the pressure. If I'm pressing here, I'll give counter pressure. A tiny drop of slip can go a long way in smoothing something out. You see what I'm doing with the eyes? I'm creating a brow. So I said take everything away except what's right next to the eye. I'm like, I won't even touch that part. Blend that in. It's starting to bulge. And they have this, I guess this must be the ear. Somebody tell me, like right here, there's this. Looks like an eardrum. So to me, so it could be the ear. It seems like it's in the right place. I'll do all that. I'm gonna let this firm up. I'll do the other eye. But I like it pretty well. I'm gonna keep trying, because once you have something pretty good, you probably want to go all the way and make it super good. Maybe I will on this one. I'm thinking about putting a tongue that comes out, but I don't want to take away storage space in here, you know. I don't want to take any volume away. I'm going to use this for a bar of soap. I want that to be able to fit right in there. Okay. Alright, seems appropriate. There we go. Take a picture of yours when you're done. Do your best. Please show me you can build these pieces in scratch, wet, and weld. and then creativity on top of that.